Spencer Pratt versus Gavin Newsom. Look, I'm not going to get into a political firestorm here because it's not really even about politics necessarily, although I have my feelings about Gavin Newsom for a long time. We're at 913 for existing to thrive, you guys. That means we have 87. Math genius here. 87 more until she gets to 1,000. You guys keep working it. Keep working the phones, guys. Keep working the phones. Keep working them. Okay. So, Spencer Pratt, love him or hate him, I personally like him. Not always. He annoyed the crap out of me back in the hills. He played the villain, right? But in the more recent years, and especially after the fires, I truly have fallen. My heart has fallen for him in terms of I've really opened up my heart to him because nothing ever will beat a man who does anything to work hard for his family in times of need. When I saw firsthand what was going on in those fires, you guys, a lot of you were with me during that time because it was kind of like right at the precipice of the Blake and Justin drama, right? It was literally the strong. Okay, so what happened? It was the lawsuit started on December 21st. Blake Lively released the CRD complaint on December 21st. So a lot of you guys found me when Justin Baldoni released his lawsuit on New Year's Eve. Didn't he say he was going to sue the New York Times on New Year's Eve? I feel like I'm getting the dates like around that time right. Then in the beginning of January, I can't remember dates exactly. Well, January 7th exactly was the date of the fire, the Palisades fire. And I'll never forget it. If you follow me here, you remember it. I was documenting it day by day by day on TikTok. It was incredibly, incredibly awful, awful, awful. And it was it was horrible to be here in Los Angeles, but I wasn't even really in the line of fire until it started to get much closer, until we started to have, in my opinion, arson attacks here in Los Angeles, the Hollywood Hills. I believe that they were man-made set fires. Actually, I believe that they ended up finding out that they were set fires here in the Hollywood Hills one. The Palisades one was the first one. It was incredibly windy that day. It was incredibly hot. I'm sorry, incredibly dry. It was really, really scary times. And the fire exploded. It just, right? And the first day, the next day or that night, I remember seeing like Spencer Pratt on TMZ saying like, we're losing our house. He was the only person that was documenting it firsthand as a public figure going through the motions. And so I started watching his content. I truly felt so connected to him in those early days. And I'm sure a lot of you guys did too. He was showing up day in and day out, literally on no sleep on TikTok, trying to literally make money because, hey, newsflash, you make money posting content. It's actually a great, great gig for those people who that's their job. You make a lot of money posting content if it gets a lot of views. And so you start to make money, and he realized this is how I can support my family. I've just lost everything. And remember, Spencer Pratt didn't just lose his own home with his wife and his sons, everything that he had worked hard for, all of his material possessions, which he talked about a lot when he was on podcasts, that he had worked his whole life and bought so many things. He bought so many pieces of clothing and jackets and shoes and all his crystals and all his things that he just lost. But his parents, he grew up in the Palisades. He's born and raised there. And his parents, whose home was 150 years old, poof, gone. So he also lost his childhood home and he lost his parents' home in one fell swoop. I couldn't imagine what a horrible experience this is. And his story is just one of thousands of people. And of course, the Palisades fire is just one fire out of the other fire, the Eaton fire, which is an entirely horrible another story, which is another fire which had predominantly even lower income homes. So it was just such a horrible time. And remember, if you guys were around, I did a whole fundraiser. We did a whole thing at my husband's studio. I was very involved in that. I was very passionate about raising money. It was so horrible. Very, very sad. But since that fire, he has really started to speak up because he is like not falling in line with the rest of what the politicians are saying, which is just like, sit down, shut up, and listen to us. We're going to figure it out. Because here we are. It's July 18th today. It's been 7 months, right? 6 or 7 months since January 7th. Someone help me with that. And you guys, I just drove by a few weeks ago and there's nothing there. In fact, it's not even cleared. There's still burnt buildings everywhere. It is so horrible. It doesn't look in any way ready to be rebuilt, even close. And then not only that, CJ brings it up here. The insult to injury was they started going around house to house and giving people fines, saying if you don't clean up your home, like all the wood and all the debris, we're going to start fining you these homes. Now, I am not there to understand like what the policies are and whatever, but they weren't helping anyone remove the brush. And from what I remember, months and months ago, when Karen Bass, who I think is doing a horrendous job with the fire, and Gavin Newsom, who's done a horrendous job with the fire, they sit there and they pretend like they're handling it, but ask anyone who lost their home in the fire. No one feels like they're handling it well. I don't think, name one person that feels like Karen Bass and Gavin Newsom have handled the fires well. I don't think anyone has. So they are not handling it well at all. They didn't prevent it well. They are not handling it well. And now, from what I know, Gavin Newsom is saying that they're going to start bringing in these crazy big multifamily housing, low income housing, if I can remember it properly, exactly what he promised he wasn't going to do on that land. He said that they weren't going to clean that they weren't going to, once they started to clean all the debris, they weren't going to start like taking the land and building up multifamily housing on it. They promised it. And now they're doing it. You guys, it's crazy. So as Spencer and the rest of the Palisades, they're so fed up. And I follow a lot of people that live in the Palisades and they're so angry and they're so sad and they're so upset. And Spencer's the only one that has like somewhat of a public platform that is screaming from the rooftops. So I am so incredibly grateful for someone like Spencer who's not scared. He's not scared and he's screaming back at these politicians. Yeah, a lot of you guys agree. It was their plan from the beginning. Who knows? Who knows what their plan is? But it's really, really bad. Newsom is mad because Spencer is saying the quiet part out loud. Read the legislation. They want the land. Exactly. So the worst part about this is, and don't get me started on Gavin Newsom in general. I despise him. I live in California. I've been here all my life. Lived in Los Angeles since 1981, born and raised. Los Angeles is a piece of shit compared to where it used to be. That could be for a different variety of reasons. They say that New York City has gone through ups and downs through the years with crime and homelessness and whatever. And like I said, I don't know. I don't care if you're left or right. It's all about what I see in the city. I mean, I just know that I don't remember having homeless people and, crime the way that it has been in the last few years. It's really, really bad. It's really bad compared to where it used to be. And I just don't think that they've done a very good job at it. And I'll just never forget Gavin Newsom drinking wine mask free at the French Laundry while we were getting, when I say we were Californians were getting arrested for paddleboarding without a mask. And I was getting yelled at on the streets for taking Dylan out riding a scooter on my street without a mask. But literally yelled at by neighbors. You put a mask on. And Gavin Newsom was sitting drinking wine in a restaurant. So I'll never look at him the same for that. That's just how I feel about that. Okay. It's not about sides, it's about government overreaching. But exactly. So Newsom is an interesting person. He's a politician through and through. And I've called out both sides on this too, because I have another podcast, Just You and Me. Trust me, watch that podcast this week where I talk about the Epstein files and my thoughts on Trump too. So trust me, I talk about it all. But I will also say that if you guys want to think about Gavin Newsom as a person, this is what he decides to do. Spencer Pratt is not scared. Spencer Pratt will keep on going, as he should. And this is what he decides to say. He decides to fight back against all of these ridiculous things. And he says, I'm going to share it with you guys. Share screen. He says, he talks about the bill, right? He talks about all the bills here. The people's voice cannot be silenced, about the Pacific Palisades. And then he says, this is Governor Newsom says this. It doesn't have a date, but it says one day ago. This is when Spencer posts it. It's Governor Newsom's official Twitter X account says this. This bill was not proposed by the governor. It was introduced by a legislator with backing from a county supervisor. It's still pending in the legislature. The claim that the governor wants to bulldoze fire victims' neighborhoods and replace them with affordable housing is absurd, offensive, and flat out false. The governor is focused on helping families rebuild, and it's shameful how C-list reality TV stars and anonymous Twitter accounts continue to spread misinformation that fuels fear in this economy. In this community. F him. How dare he talk about one of his constituents who lost his house and his parents' house in the fire, and he calls him a C-list reality star. He's treating him the way he treats like his opponents. It's so wrong. How disrespected would you feel if you were Spencer? Just because he's sharing his voice. So Spencer says, calling a concerned resident who lost his home to the Palisades fire C-list for demanding answers, that's not leadership. That's shameful. Newsom, you let the state park burn down, and it burned down my home, my parents' home, and my whole community. I'll continue to speak up for my hometown, and I'll see you in court. I freaking love this. I love this every second about it. And then this other senator, Henry Stern, California, who I don't even know who this person is, but I guess he's one of our senators, is posting also on his story saying, I thought all this time Spencer Pratt was Mr. Reliable. And he's posting an article from 2010 from realityt.com, and he's trolling him. And Spencer says, never in my life did I expect a democratically elected senator, Senator Henry Stern, to personally attack one of his own constituents and spread vile misinformation about me based on a tabloid story from 2010. I wonder if he's familiar with defamation laws. Let me set the record straight. The article he's referencing is filled with lies, from claiming my wife fired me as her manager to implying I threatened a female producer on the Hills with violence. And it's so on. It goes on and on. Why 15 years later would an elected senator resurrect this completely fabricated story? The answer seems clear. I dare to ask questions about the mass buy-up of fire-impacted lands by a state government that continues to fail fire victims. Instead of addressing legitimate concerns, they're punishing me and publicly attacking me for simply asking questions. The full truth about this incident will be detailed in my upcoming book. But for now, ask yourself, what kind of public servant responds to policy questions with personal attacks based on ancient tabloid gossip? And of course, Brody, my little crush, Brody, says, shame on Henry Stern for this. What is happening? Who are these people? These are like the people that you want to represent? It's awful. Awful. I would be sick to my stomach if I was Spencer. You're like, talk about victims. He really truly is a victim. He's lost everything. And these are the people that are representing him. It's so upset. It's so upsetting. Did I show you guys a video of when I was driving through the Palisades? I was just there. I'll show you guys. I was just there with Lance. We went with the kids too. We just went down to the beach, and I wanted to drive by the Palisades because I haven't been there since the fires. And I was like, I kind of wanted to see it because there's not going to be any sound, but I kind of wanted to see it because like I haven't been there and I feel like sad about it, but I was just kind of interested. So check this out. This is just driving on Sunset. You guys probably can't hear it. Tell me if you guys can hear this. So Sunset, when you round the corner, is when you start to see the damage. This was an entire house that was burned down. And then when you round the corner is when you start to see all of Palisades. This was filled with houses. And then all of a sudden you notice it's just empty. Empty. It was filled with gorgeous, beautiful, beautiful homes. It's devastating, you guys, to see in person. Devastating. There's nothing there. This is like one of the nicest parts of Los Angeles. We couldn't believe it. We seriously could not believe it. I mean, it seriously feels like you're in a desert town. And this is how he's talking to a victim of this fire. F you. Look, and this one house survived. Next to the fire department. And then you'll see right now, you'll start coming into the main area of the town. And look, you'll start to see this one big building that survived, which is like the big shopping center, is the one building that this big shopping center coming up is the building that Rick Caruso owns. The big shopping center that Rick Caruso owns, which is the other mayor that lost to Karen Bass. Because remember, he had his own fire department come in. Look across the street. It's devastating. Houses upon houses upon houses upon buildings. So this is what we're talking about there. And he's going to talk to his constituents this way. I mean, it's shocking. It's just, look at this. It's like a movie set. Isn't that crazy? It's so sad. Anyway, I'm on Spencer's side, and I hope someone's documenting this because he's the voice of the people. Here, I'll show you just one more little video for Spencer, just because I'm supporting Spencer and Ken's. This episode is shout out to Spencer and Existing to Thrive. By the way, how many does is Existing to Thrive have now? We need Existing to Thrive to hit 1,000 by the end of this episode. Does anyone know? Someone give me an Existing to Thrive check. I'm going to show you guys 954. Come on, she needs 44 more subscribers. Please go and subscribe to Existing to Thrive. She needs to monetize her account. She needs 44 more subscribers. Come on, subscribe. Let me just show you one more video, a little bit of Spencer, and then we'll move on to another story. Oh, whoops.
Liam Dillon claims that none of what I said online is actually in SB 549, accuses me of promoting a conspiracy theory. Really? Let's take a closer look at the actual bill text. Something Dillon clearly didn't do. SB 549 allows LA County to purchase lots at a fair price for land banking with first look sale options provided to returning residents. Here's what's missing. No definition of fair price. Who decides what that is? No clarity on first look sale options. Who qualifies? Returning residents or developers aligned with the county's redevelopment goals? Meanwhile, Dillon writes that posts have preyed on fears of neighborhood change, mistrust of government authorities, and prejudice against low-income housing to assert the wildfires were set intentionally to raise the Palisades and replace the community with affordable housing. Boom, screenshots. Too hard to even believe when I say it. He really said that right there. Okay, yeah. But here's what the bill actually says. LA County may facilitate reconstruction of lost housing stock, including by promotion of senior serving housing and replacement of affordable housing lost in the fires. No limits, no guardrails. How much affordable housing can be built? Where? Who decides? Of course, I'm supportive of seniors like my own parents whose house burned down, having the ability to return to the Palisades. But I'm also concerned about higher density. With the population we had, the evacuation was a mess. Families were abandoning their cars, running next to flames with their kids. Bottom line, I'm not pushing a conspiracy theory. I'm helping my neighbors understand the real implications of this proposed law. Asking questions about vague policy is not fear-mongering. Wanting transparency isn't preying on fear. Communities that lost everything deserve a seat at the table, not to be shamed for asking how and by whom the rebuild will be handled. That's it. Let the people most affected be part of the decisions. I got the Palisades' back. I got Altadena's back. And I don't care if you call me a C-list reality star, Mr. Newsom. That's a compliment. In today's...
I love his fight. I'm so excited for him, and I just want people to keep sharing his stuff. And I know that the news is not going to probably share it because they're scared of Newsom, and they're legacy media is scared to ever show any dissenting things. So, but YouTube is where it's at, you guys. By the way, Blake Lively is not subpoenaing TMZ. She's not subpoenaing legacy media. She's subpoenaing the creators because we're the only ones that actually have a voice. Think about it. After the Karen Reed trial, you didn't see those attorneys going over to, CBS. YouTube is where it's at. So keep sharing, keep talking, keep creating.